Welcome back to the 4th episode of TikiTalk. We are honouring that with Andre Arshavin, of course, the man himself. It's been another hectic weekend of Premier League football. We'll start with the most recent fixture of the lot, which was last night's fixture between Liverpool and United. And it was a surprising one. It was a very surprising one. I think it was just more, everyone was so taken aback with how United managed to put together a very competent performance.
Yeah, I mean, we all had our free bets on Paddy Power, Sky Bet, Bet365, whoever you bet with. And we all got it very wrong. I think no one was expecting a United win. I think maybe you had a draw. A couple of us had a draw, but yeah, I thought United were excellent. It was clear from minute one. I think Bruno hunted down a ball in the first 30 seconds of the game. The crowd got up, and I think United's intensity just completely outweighed Liverpool's. And Liverpool, it was what Carragher said, they weren't ready for a derby game, I didn't think. And in the end, I think United were fully deserving of the win, and Liverpool look in trouble. But yeah, what do you guys think about the game?
Yeah, I mean, 105 sprints, big difference from the Brentford game. They turned the intensity up. I mean, that was obvious. But how much was it to do with United, like previous performance being so bad, and then suddenly you're actually watching them try and really push up the level, or how much was it really also Liverpool just putting an absolute stinker in?
I think it was an amalgamation of the two, to be honest. I think
Agreed.
You had that high press intensity from United, and obviously they were dangerous on the counter. But I feel so much credit has gone towards them, partly because of the polarity of the situation where you've got that Brentford performance the previous week, and it's in complete juxtaposition as footballing performances go. But, I mean, I thought Liverpool were really quite atrocious, to be honest. I think Liverpool fans would happily see that as maybe one of the worst performances under Klopp since they've been like a good side, to be honest. They just seemed in disarray, really. Even players, like Van Dijk, who's not maybe started the season at his best, just a very shoddy defending at times, stuff that you don't come to expect from that Liverpool side.
It was very jagged, I felt, in the fence. It was like there was no line. They always play the offside trap, but it wasn't one clear line. It was someone going up. It just felt a very jagged back line, not connected. Midfield and defence not connected, and some sus defending from your man Trent. And is Van Dijk on the fraud watch list?
Don't get me wrong, we all know Van Dijk is a fantastic defender.
Well, that's more of an anomaly.
Yeah, but there's the Palace thing when he didn't engage with Zaha probably quick enough in the Palace game, and then you compare Van Dijk's defending for the Sancho goal versus, I can't remember who had the shot, but Martinez threw himself at the ball. Whoever shot, I can't remember who it was. And it's just like Van Dijk doesn't quite... It's as if he doesn't want to get mugged off. Like, if he thinks, if I don't engage, I can't make
they can't
an error.
Past me and ruin
that's
stat.
what they say, That's what they say. I want my perfectly intact stat about dribbling past. But yeah, Van Dijk, like we say, he's a fantastic defender, but he has started on, a bit weird this season.
Fulham was an odd one. And even the back end of last season, I'm happily blame Trent at any opportunity given. But obviously, I would say with that Champions League final, Van Dijk was just sort of getting his blunder out for that cross. He doesn't want to commit to the same extent. Like, I think John Terry leaves in a coffin on the pitch. There are certain top centre-backs that do. That's just the way it is. And I always see that Maldini quote thrown about of, if I have to make a tackle, I've made a mistake. That's fine, but when you've made a mistake, you do need to make that tackle. You do need to make that challenge. And I don't understand why Van Dijk didn't engage. But that said, there was some ropey defending going on from Trent as well. Is it also, interestingly enough, that is the first start Gomez and Van Dijk have had as a pairing since the 7-2 at Villa.
Really?
Interesting, very interesting.
I think Gomez is trash.
Yeah, I've never been sold on him.
Terrible on the ball. Can't read the game. I think he's shocking. But yeah, I think Liverpool defensively was like... I'm a Trent fan, but he was terrible last night. Yeah. He was terrible.
But Alanga had him on absolute toast.
Yeah, I feel like there was... Yeah, just saying, like echoing what you're saying, it's like the intensity, when you think of every Chelsea defenders, all of them centre-backs, they throw themselves at every single ball. Like every time we were on the edge of the area, they would sprint out and just chuck themselves to the ball. And Trent and Van Dijk, they lack that intensity. When he got literally booted, like Rashford just shoved him off the ball completely like he was nothing. No strength, felt like there's no desire. Very sort of interesting when you think of how good they were last season. There is an aspect of injuries. 9 first-team players out. That's going to...
9 first team?
Well, first team, but 9 squad players. Yeah. And you're missing your Thiagos, which is key. I mean, Fabinho is obviously on the bench, came on. They've still got a lot of Matip's out, Kanate's out. They're still fully there. You know, there's not the full squad. That maybe that does make a huge difference.
I know it makes a huge difference. I had to sit through last season being questioned why we weren't in title races with 9 players out at a time. So no sympathy from me. They can crack on. They can crack on with no Oxlade-Chamberlain. That's no impact.
Yeah,
and if their players stop getting sent off for headbutts, maybe they'll have more with the squad.
Yeah, maybe. But I tell you what, they were terrible yesterday in midfield. They were shocking.
Yeah. Oh.
I know they missed, like you say, Fabinho, Thiago.
Thiago's
midfield,
a big miss, isn't
but Milner, he can't be playing still.
If you want to be challenging for Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues like they do, and they should be, in the last few years they've been a great side. Milner can't be starting in 2022,
Not a chance.
and arguably can Henderson.
Yeah, he was poor last night. He sort of at fault not at fault, but lost the ball for the second goal. Just Milner, like he was the one that was trying to break through the lines and get into the box, particularly first half. And it was like I felt a bit bad for him because he'd get in the box and he'd just get shrugged off as if he was like playing like vets football, and it'd be like this is actually quite embarrassing for him. Like he just couldn't get a hold of the game at all, and he had a bit of a pop at Van Dijk, but I think that was somewhat to cover up a bit of a poor performance from himself. When players do that, they start to take it out on other players.
It is that aging squad, it's the oldest squad in the Premier League, and it's one of them where there is that transition. They need to bring in some younger, fresher players. I feel. I mean, a classic point that everyone's sort of making nowadays is bring midfielder, bring Bellingham in. Where there's always that chat about Bellingham. It seems that Bellingham wants to go there. Why not go in for him? They need another midfielder. The team just feels a bit old. It feels a bit stale. There's a lack of new players who are going to bring that new energy to the squad, to the team.
Yeah, well, we touched on that earlier a few weeks ago, talking about Pep and how it feels like this season they've actually managed to transfer a few out of the club and they've brought in some fresh blood. Fergie was notorious for it, and maybe it is a bit of a change of the guard with Liverpool, and they have started that with Mane out the door, obviously, and that's going to leave some mark anyway because he's a top player. But there does need to be a bit more freshness about it because it is stale. Like you said, Milner's had a great career. I mean, when he left City, I thought he was done.
Yeah.
So to have got what they've got out of James Milner, they've done very well in themselves. But yeah, maybe even Carvalho in that midfield. I know he's more of a wide outlet for Fulham at his best, but something like that because Harvey Elliott actually looks the best of the three currently that start in that midfield. Yeah, that's
best of a bad bunch yesterday for sure.
Yeah, he's quite a busy player. I don't know if that's because he's got short legs and takes lots of touches and looks very busy, but he is quite a busy player. Yeah. Like he looks like he's buzzing around and he tries to make things happen a lot more than Milner and Henderson do anyway.
Yeah, and when we were talking about Cook, we will touch on Man United. We will give some credit. Don't worry. We just want to analyse this. Bobby is done, isn't he? He's been a good player, but.
Yeah, he didn't bring anything really. I can't even think of one thing he did that was good that whole game. It was again part of the aging squad. They do need to start shipping some players on and bringing some new ones in who are gonna evolve this squad definitely.
Yeah, with Jota and Nunez, he's way down the list, isn't he? Pecking order wise at Liverpool.
Yeah, certainly. But United were very good, and we touched on that goal before. But I mean, how cold was Sancho? How cold was that?
That's nice.
Class. Coolest man in the building.
Yeah, that was class. He put the goalkeeper on his arse, and he was like 12 yards away from him. It was just, it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was. It was very impressive. But there was a number of impressive performances there, and we touched on it briefly earlier. But Martinez, we've made fun of Hezbollah. Yeah, he's an easy target.
Rightly so.
Rightly so. But I thought that was some performance yesterday. The intensity he brought. You could see that Butcher moniker coming to life a bit more.
Yeah, but I do feel like Liverpool is a team that suits Martinez. That's maybe why an Ajax in like bigger Champions League games, because it's less long ball, it's less big meaty players, but more like technical, where he can actually get himself. It was quite nice to see. He's mobile. It's a mobile centre back. It's quite rare. He gets out fast. He covers a lot of ground. And I think that suits better against better teams rather than just a bit more like long ball English classic football against teams who can overpower them with strength and physicality.
No, yeah, completely agree. And I mean, there were a lot of other good performances for United. I thought Malacia was excellent yesterday. Yeah, I mean, a lot of players have done well against Salah so far this season, but I thought you could argue he's been
locked
the best.
Him up. Even though he got a goal, he did lock him up the most.
Yeah, 100%. I think he was aggressive. I think I said it on our group chat yesterday. He reminds me of Lamptey in his kind of in his size and his work ethic. He's up and down. He's quick, aggressive, willing to put a ball into the box. Really I thought he was really, really good yesterday.
Yeah, he was. And what was surprising was Marcus Rashford. He's a footballer. It feels like a long time since I've seen a performance of his where I'm like, you look like a threat.
Yeah.
You look like the one I saw years ago when you actually did look like a threat, where you were running in behind, running at players, not just taking the safe pass. it was quite nice to see because I think everyone in England likes Rashford. He seems like a top bloke.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite surreal to see him put in a really good performance again. It feels like it's been a long time.
I mean that top 3/4 with Martial coming on were threatening. Speed, energy, pressing, technical ability, great passing, great link-up play, and some good finishes. I thought that Rashford finish was like near post finesse, a bit rogue, but quite rated. He
opened his body up and then it was Mbappe style, wasn't it? But yeah, it was interesting. Like you say, the game suited Martinez, and I think United going forward, they're going to have to play certain players for certain games. Like Harry Maguire and Varane last week against Brentford would have been better than Martinez. This week, Martinez was clearly a better option than Maguire was. I think going forward, they're going to have to pick and choose their lineups depending on the opposition because they've got such different kind of profiles of players. Yeah. If it's Ronaldo versus Rashford up front, completely different. If there's space in behind, they're going to go for Rashford. Ten Hag's going to have to pick his players based on the opposition. I think I
was really thinking about this. I thought, to be honest with you, they basically played into United's hands, Liverpool, completely. Like a high line, super fast players in behind. That doesn't, the reason why I think personally Rashford had that sort of joy.
Is that high line?
It was the high line.
For sure.
And I feel like, realistically, in a low block, Rashford, that's why Mourinho put him on the wing. He becomes irrelevant in a low block. When you're playing against a low block, what's Rashford going to do just in the box? It just doesn't suit him at all. So it will be interesting to see sort of how they evolve, and I know what's going to happen. The manager's going to play the same system next week. It's obviously great performance, and I wouldn't be surprised against Southampton away. They do struggle a bit because they won't have as many although Southampton's defense
is a bit more Bundesliga.
Yeah,
that Ralph played.
Yeah,
but they do. Yeah, and they also got a shocking defense. They are quite shit at the back.
Yeah,
but
they could roll over.
in other games, you'll see I just think it's not going to suit Rashford playing down the middle, and he'll maybe force that wide, and there may be an issue there in the future. But I mean, you can't discredit what can be a great performance and one of the best performances I've seen of United in years. I can't remember a better performance than that in a while.
Time. Probably since when it was all rosy under Ollie, I thought. But yeah, I thought Ten Hag got things right tactically. Like you said, he exploited that high line very well. And credit where it's due, he clearly had a word with De Gea and said, stop pissing around at the back.
Yeah,
long balls.
They went long every time.
They went long and they didn't have to deal with any of that because Liverpool have their high press and they completely evaded it.
And they were so aggressive to the second ball. Fine, Van Dijk would win it or whoever, but I thought McTominay was actually very good yesterday. He's taken a lot of flack, but he was super, super aggressive in retrieving second balls. Likewise, Bruno Fernandes, he was on every single second ball. I thought that they completely, like I say, outfought Liverpool yesterday.
Do you reckon he keeps Casemiro out of the team then?
Interesting. You see him in his
I did. So I'm saying hello to Roy Keane.
And his Simeone style suit as well, the all black. Yeah, he looks
he's
super,
so Real Madrid.
super slick.
He's so Real Madrid though. He's like proper like Galactico
Cool
look.
player. I actually think it's an interesting signing to the league.
I think it's a great signing.
Yeah,
to be honest, I've
seen a lot of criticism because everyone's saying, "Oh, but they need another kind of midfielder." It's like, well, how many Swiss Army knife type players do you have that can do everything United need in midfield? And I think he does. He's a brilliant six. That's what he is.
And people are saying he's too old. He's 30. Yeah. He's got 5 years at the top level in that position, at least.
Yeah.
You would compare him to Busquets, kind of in terms of winning the ball back, recycling the ball. I think he could play in that United midfield for 5 years.
Only just left.
Exactly, Fernandinho style player. 100%.
My theory is though he's won everything already. And I think you don't have the same. I mean, shown by Varane, maybe it's just taking one player. You can't really compare the two. But I think when you've won everything, and you go here, he's probably got a nice bumper contract. He definitely doesn't feel. You don't have that same sort of urgency to prove yourself. He's already proved himself. He could retire now, and everyone say he's a great career. And I think that you lose a bit of. It's only to prove yourself for the fans rather than prove yourself as a player, which I think loses a bit of the edge as a player. I mean, that's how I think personally. We'll see how he plays.
Bit of a Schweinsteiger type signing.
That's what people are comparing him. I do think it's quite a bit of money, but again, nowadays
it's a lot of money, but they're crying out for that position.
Yeah.
I know McTominay, like we said, he had a good game yesterday, but you wouldn't back McTominay to be doing that week in, week out, would you?
No. I do think also someone needs a shout out. Bruno Fernandes, is he, when he's the star player, captain armband, he just turns up again? I really think that Ronaldo.
Did you feel I thought he pressed relentlessly. I thought he was very good at that. And he was his ratty self.
Yeah, but that's what you
want. He was a proper
rolling all over the place.
I thought he could have got second yellow.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm cheering on a Liverpool loss, whoever they're playing.
Yeah,
but I thought he should have gone. He held on to that ball for like 20 seconds. I was like,
he was playing a risky game, but I do feel like I've not seen him press like that, or even just like he was just quite effortless on the ball. I thought he just was. he just had a very good. You know, he was pressing, he was leading from the front. You said from the first minute, that early press, and I think when was the last time we saw that? And is Ronaldo's presence? We always talk about second Ronaldo's presence has come, Bruno's just disappeared. How much was it just having that captain's armband brought him the confidence of like, okay, I'm the star man tonight. I've got to turn up for this team.
Yeah, it was interesting that he dropped him. It was very interesting and maybe quite foreshadowing. Maybe Ronnie is off, but I mean, God knows where.
You'd expect him to go, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But it was a hectic weekend, so we do need to move along. We had on Sunday, 4:30 Sundays are the place to be, quite clearly. Obviously, you had Chelsea Spurs the week before, which was explosive, and this delivered. This is a contender for what will be game of the season throughout the season, I imagine. Newcastle and City really both brought it. I mean, you had City doing the normal self thing, starting the game well. Gundogan arrived in those pockets as he does. He slots it home.
Goal, yeah.
And then Newcastle, they've just got this feel-good factor at the moment where they know they're going to the top and it will take as long as it takes. But they feel like they're on this trajectory already, you know, with the right guy. I mean, Eddie Howe, what he's done there clearly from taking them from literally relegation form, absolutely dreadful. Having some additions, of course he has, but transformed them into a team that looks capable of challenging for Europe quite quickly. So, yeah, I thought the performance was just insane. Maximan especially, he was just... He has these games where he literally looks like one of the best players in the world. One of the best wide outlets for sure.
Legit.
He tore Walker a new one, honestly.
Yeah.
Really did. But yeah, I mean, great performance from Newcastle. You know what? It's one of those things where they talked about it. I think the only way to really take on City is to be brave. You got to be brave with the ball. You got to take them on. Really, they left players really high up the pitch as well. I feel like Newcastle. They were like, we're at home. As you said, we're going to be a future megastar for one of the biggest teams in the world. And they were like, let's just take these guys on. What have we got to lose? What have they got to lose? They've got nothing. There's no expectations in their season, really. They can do what they want. And I thought, some real standout performances. I really like the look of, Wilson tore us apart in...
he's great when he's fit.
He tore us apart last season, and I was like, geez, when I saw that, I was like, that's one of the most ridiculous, like he's got so much potential. He'd be great if he just, maybe keep fit, get some goals, get him back in the England squad, really.
Yeah, that finish was something else, to take it inside and then poke it on the other side. It was absolutely immaculate.
Yeah, and you mentioned it was very comparable to their game against us at the end of last season, the 2-0 completely suffocated us then and City on Sunday. I thought Newcastle were fantastic. And we spoke about it in, I think, the first pod. Their recruitment it's just been so smart.
Sensible.
Sensible. I mean, Trippier, fine, he pulls out a free kick. You sign him slightly for that, but, he can do that. He is such a good footballer. He is so solid, and they didn't get any joy against him.
That Simeone leadership for a while has clearly done the world a good.
Yeah, he's a really, really good defender.
I thought he was a bit of a clown.
And he got a lot... Southgate gets a lot of stick for picking Trippier over other fullbacks, but I think you can do a lot worse than Trippier, for sure. I think he's a seriously, seriously solid and reliable player, which is what a team like Newcastle need. They need a good, solid base, as well as someone that can create going forward, and I think he fits that perfectly.
Talking about Trippier, was it a red?
Orange card for me.
Yeah.
High, but it's orange.
I'm surprised. I know a lot of people think that's definitely yellow. I'm surprised that they say that's a clear and obvious error. I'm surprised.
Just because it's high.
It's high. There was. I appreciate there was a bit. It wasn't a.
It was a tap.
It wasn't a full
extension.
contact.
Yeah.
But if you're going knee high and there is, if you graze with the studs, whatever, for me that is endangering an opponent, and I'm surprised that was deemed a clear and obvious error.
But if you want to take, I'm thinking about this if I'm playing and I'm running back, and I'm like, they're going through, I need to take them down. Like, how do you do that in a way which isn't, it's sort of. It's part of the game. You have to have that sort of tackle to bring someone down.
If he'd gone in lower, he would have
lower.
That's the thing.
Lower.
No, if he goes lower, it's studs into ankle.
No, it's more of a trip that way. Low.
Yeah, it's more the fact if his foot was outwards, it would be a red card. The reason I thought it was orange is just because you can actually see his foot's closed off, where it's more of a tap rather than extending. So
yeah, I think, and I think in a few years' time, that regardless of whether it's high, low, anywhere. In a few years' time, that deliberate stopping of the counter-attack is going to be a straight red card. That is where the game's going.
I'm glad it didn't go that way, though, because it was an incredible game anyway. But prior to that happening, City showed why they're champions. I mean, the quality Haaland, I thought, actually had a very good game and could have had a hat-trick if it wasn't for Nick Pope. Nick Pope between the sticks was something else.
Great signing, great goalkeeper.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I think the one thing he has question marks over is how good his kicking ability is. But in terms of like shot stopping, he's a top keeper.
Coming for crosses, not staying on his line. I mean, the fact that one-on-one where Haaland shrugged off, I don't know if it was Botman, but he completely just said, fuck off. And then he just got, like does this weird run, and he gets on his bike, but Nick Pope did so well to come out and just smother that, I thought. And he made another lovely save onto the post just before that as well. So, very impressed.
Very impressed. But talking about Haaland, I mean, two, I'd say, good chances, especially one right at the end as well. It's one of them with Haaland. You're like, I feel like he did score. He's always going to get himself in the right position. I feel like his positional awareness. Like I remember Van Persie being one of the best at just positional awareness in the box, but he's definitely got that. But still, maybe that's that expectation you have on him that every time he shoots is going to be a goal, right? You just think, and he's going to score. And I'm sure he's kicking himself he hasn't got that win. He didn't get the win for the team off that missed chance or a couple of missed chances.
Do you find it scary how scary he looks already at his age as well? I look at him and I'm like, this guy will probably go down as one of the best strikers the Premier League ever sees.
Yeah,
you already feel, it feels inevitable like this early on. When you watch him, you just think how many chances he's getting in. You're like, wow, and you're getting better. What is he, 21, 22?
21, yeah.
21, I think. Yeah, he's got 3 and 3. Like, yeah, he's gonna be a complete menace for 10 plus years.
Yeah. The only thing with him is, will he stay? That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Hasn't he got something in his contract?
Yeah, he's got a release clause in 2 or 3 years, something like that. Smart. If he went to one of the big Spanish clubs, that could happen maybe one day. But
I do feel like he's going to get there's an element of frustration. I watch him play. The lack of ball touches, the lack of real chances he can get because of everyone plays a low block against City. I don't know if he'll just be to be fair, if he learns how to play against that, he will be the best striker we'll probably might ever see, because he'll be able to play against all types of teams. But I do feel like it's something that he's going to only get better over time and learn how to play against much more defensive teams.
Yeah, but I mean, that was the late kickoff on the Sunday. We had the early kickoff on the Sunday, which was
Brian West Ham.
The one that was on the telly. Leeds against the Chelsea.
Oh mate,
what happened?
Mendy happened essentially. I mean, not completely, but first 15 minutes, I was like, all right, they're playing all right. They should have been 2-0 up, like completely. First minute, Sterling had a really good chance, should have buried it, and then there was another one where Mason put it into the path, and the oncoming Ruben Loftus-Cheek came onto it, and as
refused to shoot.
It's there to be hit perfectly. Reece James is burying this. I want to dribble it in the box. Why? I don't know why the fuck he's done that anyway, but I was concerned prior to the kickoff with the team, because I think there was some serious misprofiling going on there. In that it's quite obvious Conor Gallagher is not someone who can play in the pivot. He's someone who you could maybe play him in a 3-man midfield, or he's someone you could play higher up. He's not someone I thought, he can sit there with George, and I think that proved he's not good enough on the ball, I don't feel, or perhaps tactically disciplined to sit as much. There were so many times where he was so far up the pitch and you're just leaving George completely exposed. And George is someone who we cover his limitations anyway. Players like Kovacic and Kante can massively help with that, and he wasn't getting a lot of help. But it wasn't just down to him. I also think Tuchel made a big mistake in. I get Reece James playing right-sided centre-back when Son is your threat and you completely nullify him in the game. I get that. Don't play him there against Leeds. I'm not worried about Dan fucking James. I'm not worried about Dan James. Put Reece at right wing back where he's so much more threatening, buries that Ruben chance. Yeah, that didn't make sense to me. And I know we were limited by injuries, but I'd rather have seen Billy Gilmore, to be honest, as a pivot than Conor Gallagher there specifically. Or if he had switched to a 4 and played them as a 3 midfield. But that aside, like I said, 15, 20 minutes is all right. And then they started pissing around the back and the tempo slowed. And Mendy, it's not even a case of this has been coming. This has been something that I've now seen several times. I was at West Ham away when he was pissing around with it in the box and gave a penalty away when we were 1-0 up. Game was chilled. Completely changes momentum because obviously it gets the crowd up. I was at the Real Madrid game where Benzema is, we've just got back in the game, 2-1, nothing silly, start of the second half, comes rushing out and plays the most dreadful ball, I can't remember, across to Rudiger, I think it was, Benzema scores. He has gained this false sense of ultra confidence in his abilities.
Yeah.
In that first season where he was awesome, and I'll back him on that, in that Champions League run, he knew his limitations. There was less pissing around the back and believing in his ability that he's an amazing player on the ball, because he was never that. He wasn't awful by any means, but he didn't back himself to this extent he does now, and now you're having several incidents where he has completely cost us a goal, and therefore there's that switch of momentum. Leeds are suddenly up for it. You get a goal a couple minutes later. I mean, it's a bad day when Thiago Silva's putting in a poor effort to block that cross. I thought on the third, it's a bad day because he rarely has a bad game for us. But just collectively, from that moment that goal went in, they were just dreadful, heads down.
Are you Kepa in next game then?
You know how much I've despised watching Kepa.
You despise him.
I absolutely do. This is a man that I have screamed to the heavens in response to some of his Poppadom hands incidents and his chocolate wrists. They're absolutely terrible. And I would start him in the next game. That's how I actually feel on it. And
sometimes you need to humble a keeper.
You need to know your place.
Send a message.
You need to know your limitations, and you need to stop pissing around. And I can't believe that goal. Even when I watched it back today again, just like out of a bit of trauma, just trying to hype myself up to go through this again. But he had 4 or 5 opportunities to clear that ball. Not just first time. Like he sits there dawdling on it. I have no fucking clue what he's doing.
I felt like he wanted to do a skill move or something. He was like in his head like, am I just gonna like croqueta do it him or something?
But the second a goal like that goes in, for your club, you're like, oh, it's one of those days, is it? And that's what it sort of felt.
Yeah, and that gets the crowd against Leeds, specifically against Leeds. It gets the crowd up, and that is the worst thing that you can do, because once you've got those front 4 pressing with the crowd behind them, they are tough. Yeah, they're a tough team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's talking about Chelsea. I want to know your opinion on this. I mean, Havertz, 12 goals in 53 games. Is that good enough? What do we think about Havertz? I mean, I have my own opinion. I think there's anyone who isn't supportive of Chelsea, I think, would say Havertz is underperforming and hasn't, I know you got the Champions League winning goal, obviously a key goal, and he does turn up in some big games as well,
But what's frustrating is it just seems to just be the big games. That's the problem. It's his inconsistency. Like I've conceded that anyway. I want that consistency to come, but I've also been patient because I'm very aware, young player, that can happen, that can take time. But he does need to start delivering. Like you have that performance. What I can't understand with this performance it was a reverse Man United. It was them. We were the Brentford game, and last week was our Liverpool game. Like we were so up for that Spurs game, and to put in a performance like that, I was like, How are you capable of this? Like, you were so on it.
Everyone as well.
So on it. And,
everyone.
we did draw the Spurs game, but performance-wise, they didn't. They played out their skin.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
If you turn up like that, I'm sorry, I will give a bit of credit to Leeds. I thought Rocker was good. I thought Aronson pressed well. But like I said, they could have had that game wrapped up early. And if they played like they did against Spurs, that's probably 4 or 5-0 that game.
So on Havertz, what is his best position? Because I can't work it out.
For me,
I think he's probably just behind the striker. It's probably like a second striker is probably his ideal position. But within that formation,
in what system? Because to me, he's not you can't play him as a 10 in the way that an Ozil or whoever else you can think of, be it Maddison, whoever the classic 10s that you can think of. He doesn't fit that profile for me. No. And the very few formations in the modern game allow for sort of a 2 up front, even if he's kind of a slightly withdrawn striker.
Because I've seen Hansi Flick play that, and he looks a bit more mobile because he does interchange positionally very well. Like there are times he does it with Sterling, like you saw in the Spurs game, but. Yeah,
I feel
they were all dreadful, but he needs to kick in. He needs to kick on.
Yeah, I do feel like Havertz he's one of those players. I'm sure on a 5-a-side he'd be like one of the best player in the 5-a-side, but he just doesn't have. It's almost like his his physical traits don't really suit any sort of position. That's my issue, and we can know he's technically really gifted. Last week we could talk about it, and like he did really well, but I just feel there's just exactly sort of a guy saying, where do you play him? I'm not sure where you play him. You've tried maybe playing on the wing, but I think he's too slow, and then he's almost too big for a 10. Then he's not fast enough and strong enough to be a striker. I don't really know where to play him.
Do you know what he is actually perfect for? Like this is where you play it. Like he is quite literally Muller getting older replaces Muller. Like that's where he plays that Raumdörter role. Suppose that originates from Germany. That is his position. When you look at him, he is a silky Thomas Muller in terms of where does Muller play? What do you define Muller as? It's a weird kind of position in that sense. But with our formation, it doesn't quite fit, and he doesn't get the amount of goals needed to be that out-and-out guy. But it's just frustrating with Havertz because there's so many games that I look at, like I said, big ones, where he's so on it, and then you'll get this complete juxtaposition of performance. And, and there was a number of those guilty of that. I thought Mount was poor as well. Sterling I gave a bit more credit with. He's missed a couple of chances, but at least he is more direct than some of those players. I felt like they were hiding. There was a number of really poor performances, to be honest.
For me, Sterling's on the sus list already. I think you get new signing BOD. You always do. You're always going to favour new signing. But I do feel I'm looking at his performances. None of them are really, and maybe it's because that Chelsea aren't playing. They're not playing except from last week. They've been playing amazingly, but there's just a bit of missed chances. I don't know. Something's not quite right there, but it does take a time for a new sign to sort of get settled down and really understand the system and everything. But
I think he's the least of the issues, if I'm honest. Like, I know that one of them was offside. He scored. Like, he's still a threat. Whereas the problem is the rest of our players don't look like a threat. We don't look like we're going to do anything, especially when, like I said, Tuchel did get it wrong. And, there's not many times I have to criticise him because he normally gets things fairly spot on and then we end up missing chances. But Reece James should be playing right side centre back, right wing back rather, because we don't have a lot of threat as it is, and he offers you so much down that side. And thanks for Spurs, Ruben, but back to normal is it apparently? So
yeah.
It was very frustrating. I'm lucky I had the City game later and some lovely foreign football, which we'll touch on later. But we'll move on. We'll move on to Arsenal. Obviously, you guys had a nice game. Norwich playing in red and black this year.
Yeah, God, they're shocking, aren't they, Bournemouth?
Mate.
They're dog.
Yeah.
Kiefer Moore up front. Jesus.
We saw that team sheet. Cruz and I watched the game together.
If I walked past that entire squad in the street, I don't think I'd recognise any of them.
No, like we got the team sheet up. We were watching the game together, and we looked at it. We went 1 to 11, and we were like, "Oh my God, these guys are dog shit."
They are a
terrible,
particularly poor team, and
there's not even Pookie there.
No, Kiefer Moore.
Yeah,
he's that guy who just he's quite a lump up front. Honestly, that team is, especially their attacking options. You're like, what are those names? I don't know who they are.
Yeah, who gave them 3 points?
Yeah.
Well, Stevie did.
So, we'll get to that later. Yeah, I mean, you know what I gotta say? The Slaver chant, love it. Da 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 da.
I won't do all of it, but yeah, we sang that from like half an hour in till half time,
and
about
I had to mute it,
and about 2 minutes of the second half. But yeah, to be honest, I don't know what more there is to say that we didn't say in the first few weeks. I mean, we
Jesus is awesome.
He's great. Saliba. Yeah. I mean, fine. The goal's the goal.
The goal was a lovely finish.
His performance again, excellent. Zinchenko again, excellent performance.
What he offers is
doing
insane.
The Cancelo role as we touched on.
Just drifted into midfield.
There wasn't really much more to. Actually, there really wasn't, was there?
Genuinely, from the first two versus this game, it was just continuation of the same. I thought we just completely dominated from start to finish. All the same patterns of play that we were in the first couple of games were evident here, and I thought we were great. Honestly,
Exactly. It's the same. It's sort of the same performance really for 3 games, and also another quiet game from Saka as well.
Yeah, he was quiet. I think Ben White did a bit of a better job overlapping.
Yeah,
that was evident.
He did.
Evident from the second goal.
He's been watching the pod. He knows.
Yeah, he has been watching the pod. Ben, well listened, very good.
Ben Shite.
But yeah, no, I thought I thought everyone was great, other than Ramsdale, who whenever the ball goes near him in the box, you start to hide behind your sofa because he's pretty fucking dodgy.
Luckily it was Bournemouth, so it was.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think Fulham game
will be more of a test. Yeah. I'm excited to see Arsenal when Transylvania on a Thursday night kicks in and you got Spurs on the Sunday, because at the moment, like you said, it's not really been a test so much. I'm not going to discredit Palace, but I think it was a really good time to play Palace in that. They had half their pre-season, half the squad was in Australia, half of it was in England. They had one game, and then even that, it was like 15 minutes Arsenal were really good, and it was they did well to get those 3 points at the end. But the other two teams, I mean, Leicester and in free fall, really.
Yeah. But we just quickly touch. I feel with Arsenal is we are just notorious. We're quite good at like streaks, like losing streaks and winning streaks. So like it's one of them where the confidence is always high. We've always had that sort of thing. Under Unai Emery, we had like 21 games like undefeated, and I just feel you never know. One loss really just like
could
builds,
shake it completely.
Like we lose to Fulham, let's say, and then suddenly it's just like the whole season starts collapsing. So. That's one thing I want to see. What's the resolve? What's the mentality? I think that's something that's been missing. And everyone keeps going, the mentality's changed. You've got Jesus, Zinchenko. We've got winners in. So I mean, I want to see some big tests.
I want to see it against a big team because it's just something we haven't seen really.
And I also think I want to point out the one I'd say negative maybe. Arsenal strikers do hate away games to score goals. I mean, I know Jesus scored an offside goal and he had a chance, but I can't remember one Arsenal forward who was good at scoring away. Lacazette, I think like 80% of his goals were at home.
He was ridiculous. Lacazette was a joke.
Giroud, Aubameyang, they loved home game. Aubameyang, they all were home scorers. So I don't want the trend to continue. And I know like Jesus is still contributing so much more, which makes a difference. But two away games.
I
No
think,
goals
yeah,
against.
if there's anything you don't need to worry about, it's definitely him, to be honest.
Yeah,
I know.
I think that's just more just the way the games have gone as opposed to poor away performances from him as an individual.
I'm just saying, when in 6 months' time we're like, he's only got 3 away goals. He's only got 18 at home.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, no, obviously, yeah,
Sure,
yeah. He's gonna, yeah, he'll be great. But yeah,
No, fantastic player. But yeah, it's Arsenal top of the league.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
Stop
Looking good.
Stop the clock.
Yeah, exactly. Take a screenshot of that table
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, looks good. Looking forward to, like you say, playing against a big team. I think our first sort of quote big game is against United, and if they, if they're anything like they were last night, then that's going to be a big test. But until then, just going to enjoy picking up 3 points on the reg. It's great.
Yeah.
Doing very well. But we had some good 3 PMs. I know you were watching one of them.
Yeah, I actually watched the Fulham.
Legally.
Fulham Brentford game legally, of course. I sign up to Fulham Fan TV. No, I don't. But no, that was a good game actually. Yeah, I put my research in for the pod, obviously. But no, I watched that because I thought it'd be a good game, and it didn't disappoint whatsoever.
Delivered.
I thought Fulham in the first half, particularly, I thought they were very good. One player that particularly caught my eye, I think he's been good in the first couple of games, Pereira. I think he was buzzing all over the pitch. I think he's got good, decent players in front of him, good movement. I thought that the guy on the right-hand side, I think Stansfield, he was good. He was really good. And Fulham just completely suffocated Brentford for the first half an hour. The intensity kind of wore off a little bit, but overall I thought Fulham were really good. And, you said it a few weeks ago, the main man popping up with the winner. It's the year of the
It is
Mitro.
the year of the Mitro. Honestly, he had a bit of beef. He had a bit of beef going on. Obviously, Ivan Toney, this is the offside goal. I'm seeing Drogba here. I'm just looking at it. We're linked with Aubameyang, and I'm looking at this bloke like, nah, you're the one. I think you're
He's
the
class.
one. I think he's top class.
He's good,
He hasn't
he's
really
good.
got a weak facet to his game. He's sort of not really got any massively strong ones either, but he's just sort of like 7, 8 for everything. Like he's a top player, but it was offside, but he did manage to get a scrappy goal, and both times gave it one of these. And you've got Mitro now coming out saying that he's idolised Ivan Toney.
That was funny. No, but it was 2 really decent centre forwards outside of the top 6 on show on Saturday. And good to see them beefing. It's what you want to see, isn't it?
And we're talking about centre forwards being such an important position, and the lack of quality areas around the world. And you've got 2 teams, who aren't, one's just been promoted, one's bottom half table, who've got 2 really good forwards, and it'll be interesting to know. I feel like Mitro and Fulham just like hand in hand now. But would anyone be tempted, like an Everton struggling going in for Mitro? Maybe
you'd have to throw a lot of cash at Fulham though.
Yeah, you would have to.
You definitely would. How much money would it? I don't even know what they consider.
50.
Is 50 mil?
million
Is that silly for Mitro?
Well, you're only paying like $1 million per goal basically from last year. Like,
if he scored 9 by December, would you go
in January? Yeah, if he scored 9 by January,
mid-Jan, yeah.
I think he's
came in
indispensable
Jan.
for Fulham. I'm not going to lie.
I think you'd have to pay probably. I think this might sound stupid. I think you have to pay 60 mil for him.
so do I.
50 plus add-ons, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Pookie comes in afterwards.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the reason that those 2 are in all likelihood going to stay in the league is because they got 2 players that can put the ball in the net, and that's the difference between them and a Southampton or a Bournemouth or whoever else who's down the going to be.
Although credit to, we've tipped them to go down. Ralph's men.
Yeah.
Shea Adams.
Yeah.
XG Adams.
Yeah.
Leicester are getting rolled over on the reg, and Maddison's trying to do his best, but it's not coming to any avail.
Yeah.
What a goal though it was to win the game from Che Adams.
Yeah, he loved his XG. He was an XG magnet a couple of years back, and I always think he gets like a double. He'll probably score next week, and he'll just go dry for ages and miss loads of chances. I just think that is just Che Adams. He's got quality, but it's again one of those. It's consistency with a play like that. But is what a great goal. When we think about Southampton, they were looking dangerously, but like poor, and to win away to Leicester, I think that just really shows. Again, 1, they're fighting for the manager, and 2, that they still can pose a threat. They still got that ability to pose a threat here and there, but Leicester are particularly bad. No Tillman starting, no Fofana starting. It really feels like they're in an absolutely deflationary spiral. Really, they're just falling apart. Really,
and we're seeing the Rodgers might be sacked.
Yeah.
I don't know if those rumours, how concrete they are, but they were flying around over the weekend.
I'm not sure that's the right move though. Like I don't think he's the problem. I think it's just literally none of the players want to play for him. That's it. Well, play for the club, not even him, just the club. And I don't know who would they bring in right now who's going to really sort that situation out. Who's going to lift the whole squad and bring that optimism back?
That's interesting. Maybe the boy who lived. Maybe let's target the boy who lived. I don't know if they could attract him.
I don't
because
know.
they are on
think
a
so.
title charge.
I think, Brighton are going one way and Leicester are going very much
Agreed.
the
Yes.
other.
I mean, they've gone away to West Ham. Who are they going down? I mean, I don't think they actually are going down. West Ham have got too much quality, but it's a rocky start for them. I mean, that's 3 losses they've had.
I think they have an issue with. I think they're way too loyal to Antonio. He's
Get Scamacca on.
Yeah, it gets.
Yeah.
I think I don't know exactly, but it's like if you actually look at Antonio's scoring record, like in 2022, it's terrible. And they have got that weird loyalty to him. I mean, he's a great player, but at the end of the day, he was sort of a great player. But if you're not scoring goals and that's like what you're bringing to the team, he doesn't really do much in the build up, really, does he? He's more just running behind. But I feel, yeah, try Scamacca. Try someone else. Try something different. But, it's really funny when you think of the start of the season. I always think, when you, like, if West Ham won the first game, oh no, they weren't going to beat City. But, like, if you just win one or two games, your mentality is like, okay, we're aiming up here. When you lose a couple, you're almost, like, a bit distraught already. Like, Declan Rice probably in his head going, like, oh my God, I've got another season of playing, like, mid-table football, like I wanted to be challenged for something. You start losing a bit of the atmosphere in the club. And I feel that's shown with a lot of clubs who've, like Liverpool, a perfect example, started a bit badly and they're continuing to play badly. They need to sort of like wake up and be like, hang on, we've got a whole season here. Let's not just give up, or not give up, but let's not get sad because we've lost a couple of games at the start of the season.
Yeah, the narrative completely shifts so early in the season, doesn't it? I think people...
Last year, you guys were going down.
Yeah. I mean, I think we did pretty well to turn it around from where we were at that point after 3 games. But someone like West Ham, I think most people expect them pre-season to finish probably between 7th and 10th probably. Yeah. And now, like you say, I don't think they're going to go down, but the narrative has completely shifted. So if you ask most people, they probably say, yeah, they'll finish probably 11th or 12th, which is a major shift from where we were 3 weeks ago. Yeah. So it just shows you the importance of getting off to a fast start in the league. But for them, yeah, I don't know. I think they have to play Scamacca. I mean, he started the game in the playoff and he scored. So
great header.
I think you've got to give him a go because I think that's a bit of their problem is they didn't freshen up from last year.
I mean,
did they?
You touched on Rice. Maybe players like that are a bit more.
Yeah, same old,
and also
same
they've
again.
gone from Europa League to Europa Conference, and that was such a buzz, obviously, around West Ham. They were playing Europa League football and
did so well,
beating Sevilla, and it was a crazy time. I imagine as a West Ham fan, a real rarity. But then to maybe go down there, some of the players may be feeling the effect, so it's a bit tough. But take nothing away from Brighton and the boy who lived, because what he's doing there is just fantastic, to be honest.
I mean, is Brighton a top 6 team?
Well, you look at it. They drew to Newcastle and they got a clean sheet. We've just watched Newcastle tear City's arsehole to an extent. Yeah. We didn't touch on it earlier. I do want to mention De Bruyne's pass. Shout that out because that was something else. But they've had good results. We watched them rip apart United at Old Trafford. We didn't watch the 0-0 against Newcastle. I hate to say it, but that's not a bad result in the grand scheme of things. They're a good side, and then they've gone away to West Ham, won another clean sheet.
Imagine if Potter had some funding behind him. He could be a serious. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Let's say Conte leave. I mean, he's not a long-term manager, is he? There's the Potter to Spurs. I mean, that could be.
There are some. It's a very vocal minority. There are some Chelsea fans saying they should go for Potter.
I think
that's wild.
Yeah, that is wild. Yeah. But Potter, I don't know, Potter and Chelsea, I don't know. I mean, if you've still, I know you're under the new ownership, but I feel like he's not into that sacking culture.
Oh, no, I don't want Tuchel gone at all. I'm just saying, I've seen that pop up on social media. I've been like, okay. But yeah, he's working some magic there, Potter, isn't he? But one game that wasn't very magical. It was boring as shit. Spurs versus Wolves. God,
yeah. Yawn.
Oh, I wanted to go back to bed. It's a terrible start to a Saturday, wasn't it? Not just because Spurs won, all right? Not just because they won, but it just... Actually, no, what I will give credit for is some of the Wolves' performances in that first half. I thought the midfield three, it was so nice seeing Matheus Nunes playing. I didn't expect him to start so soon, But as a midfield three, they're complete control of the game. They're just so toothless up top at the moment, Wolves.
Yeah.
I feel like, you're talking about midfield three. Moutinho, he's 35. He was pulling strings.
Well, when he came off, that's when the game changed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you saw Kulusevski a bit more space. The corner came from that.
But yeah, I do feel with Wolves, it's such a lack of penetration. It's crazy. Like it's almost like there's no men in the box. And I actually look at that Wolves team, and there's so many great players, and you go, you're literally, it just feels like they're missing, if they're missing one or two players, and suddenly it would just like elevate. If they had a really world-class centre forward, my goodness, they could just really they could go real places, because they look decently at the back. Their midfield is like
One of the best in the league.
Yeah,
Right.
there was a chat about like, I know Tottenham had quite a bit of possession at the start, but at one point Wolves were completely, it was like 70% possession. It was destruction. But they just like, they get into the wide areas and they just like, they look lost.
Yeah.
There's not that sort of, maybe
They actually remind me of us a bit, to be honest.
yeah,
to
they
an
did.
extent.
Yeah, it's sort of a point I made last week. It's like, the Sterling or Havertz will get to the edge of the box, and there's missing a man in
They
there.
have to fight for their goals.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
just-
it's not. It doesn't look free flowing at all, does it?
Guedes looks sharp, but yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough work for them. But going back to Spurs, is it concerning that they're getting points without playing well? Because it's either going to go.
I know people think that's a sign of a good team, and I get that.
It's
but
going to go one way or the other. Either they're going to start playing well and blowing teams away, or they're going to keep playing like this and they're going to get found out eventually.
I believe the latter.
You think the latter? I think so as well.
I just think look how awful we. I know we were complete polar opposite Sunday rather against Leeds, but when we played against them, I just thought we're miles ahead of these lot. Like quality wise, that's just how I felt. And I know some of their signings coming in. I actually think they should drop Son and play Richarlison, because when Richarlison's come on, they've looked far more energetic all of a sudden. 2 weeks in a row now. I think Son's looked anonymous.
Yeah, he's been poor.
And Basuma will get a lot more game time, so they will get better. But I don't know. I look at Spurs and I believe in Diaz.
But
They look. Do you know what they look like actually to me? And this is someone who had to sit through. We often talk about how good Conte is, and that first season at Chelsea where he won the league, where we had no Europe, and it does help. That second season was fucking horrendous. Like, that was one of the worst seasons I've had to sit through as a fan in terms of... That sounds really spoiled, right? We won an FA Cup and came fifth. But in terms of the football, it was just dire. It was dull. And the performances remind me of that, if I'm honest. More so than first season Conte, put it that way.
yeah, but that's my only worry is, like, even when you play under the Conte team, they just play a bit shit, but they still get results, and you never know.
They're happy not to have the ball. They can go without,
And I feel like they sometimes can step up the gears and really like start. Is this like basically? Is this going to be the lowest performance we're going to see, or is this just an average performance? That's what we got to see, and we'll see that throughout the season. I do want to shout out one play for Wolves. I thought Nathan Collins.
I'm so gutted he made the mistake on the goal, because prior to that, I'm with you.
I was watching this guy play. He played for Burnley last season. Apparently, he was like, wasn't really keeping an eye on him back then. Yeah, no, believe it or not, I don't watch Burnley on my weekends. But he looked. I was thinking, this guy on the ball, unbelievable. Like, he looked physical presence. He looked really good, really composed at the back. Like last ditch blocked against Son. I was just watching him. I was going, who is this guy? I've never seen this guy. 21 years old, plays for Ireland. Beautiful. Like, when have you ever seen a 21-year-old Irish centre-back who has that ability on the ball?
Not since the days of John O'Shea. Or
John O'Shea was in Notorious?
Declan Rice.
Deckers, yeah. But I thought, like, honestly, if that's a player to watch, because he's got some serious quality. Serious quality, and being a 21-year-old defender means Saliba's another, same age, and to be that, it's the composure and the mentality. That's what you need to look at that in a player, and he has that. So he honestly could be a play for the future.
Yeah, it's interesting with Wolves, because like you touching on there about that defence, there were so many nice patterns of play I saw from them building up from the back and then getting it to the midfield. The midfield have so much dominance, and it just gets to a point, and you're like, oh. They do amazing up to there. And then when they get to that final third...
Long shot by Ruben Neves.
Yeah, that was it.
I was hoping for that corner.
That's not... He caught that quite clean, yeah.
He caught it well, but it was just a bit too central, which was a shame. But we had, also on the Saturday, I think... I tipped him for the sack. But obviously, Brendan might win the sack race. Actually, we've got two men who might be up for the sack, to be fair. We'll start with the first one. But Stevie, they lost to Palace. Zaha and Eze running the show again.
Yeah.
Zaha, I've seen, he scored more Premier League goals than Salah this calendar year. which is absolutely nuts.
I think he's only behind.
Only behind 2 players. I can't remember.
Kane and Son.
His finishing has improved tremendously. Like it's the last 2 finishes he's had has been like excellently taken.
Yeah.
And he's looking for it. I mean, Eze as well. He's just picking the ball. He's driving. I love that. You know, everyone loves seeing like midfielder pick up the ball and just drive with it, and like watching all these players trying to get near him, but he's just dribbling past him. That is going to be a serious threat. I mean, for them. I mean, and Palace as a team look very gelled. Look like they have an identity. They have a system, sort of building on from what Vieira had last year. And you know, sometimes you have a manager come in after one season, looks good, and then it just doesn't. Second season doesn't really pick up the same. But they look on it, and they look like a real team and dangerous, very dangerous.
Real fun to watch. And they had a goal ruled out. I want to touch on this just because it seemed it's a bit more of a wider point for us to touch on. Schlupp scored a goal that was, I don't know, a hair offside. And there was a number of goals this weekend. I thought in your game, Ben White was probably as offside as Jesus was when his was ruled out.
Yeah.
I thought there was another. The Tony one was very tight.
But
I think Rashford was more offside than any of those goals.
Yeah, it's mad.
Or looked it anyway. I'm so confused where they draw these lines or who's drawing these lines. Or it just feels like sometimes they go with that rule of benefit of the attacker, and then sometimes they don't. It's just. Yeah,
I thought we were promised thicker lines this season.
Yeah.
Is that right? Has that transpired? Don't know. No one really knows how thick are the lines. Right. They just said, you know, they'll be this thick, they'll be that thick. Who knows? Yeah. But it's anyone's guess.
Where do you guys stand on VAR and this? Because I do think it does. I feel robbed now when we score a goal. I don't properly celebrate like I used to.
Yeah, I mean,
unless it's a screamer, I don't properly celebrate it.
It's hard. You have to hold back. You do have to hold back, and like the Rashford goal yesterday, I was holding back, and I was.
I love how you celebrate an anti-Liverpool goal as much as your own club.
I was. But you're like, I was just screaming at TV going, he's off. It does ruin it quite a bit, and I think Guy Mowbray, he touched on it when he says it's an infringement of the spirit of the game. I think that's the best way to sum it up. Really, it kills off a bit of football. You lose an element of.
I want to just throw my arms and go nuts.
Yeah, that's it.
There's a feeling in me now where I go, wait, that might get robbed from me.
Yeah, and especially how close, like everything is so like inch perfect.
Yeah.
You know, the runs and everything. So it's not usually goals where you can just celebrate. And even if it is onside, they'll call it back for like a foul or something. You're like, what?
They get it wrong.
Yeah, they get it wrong. I remember the Callum Chambers one against Palace when we draw. That was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah,
that was ridiculous. They said the day that football died was that City Spurs Champions League quarter final.
Yeah, the season that.
When Sterling scored. They say that was the day that football died because. I remember we were watching that together and we went, as anti-Spurs, we went mental when that goal went in. I mean, literally jumping up and down and then they have to pull it back and it just kills the vibe. And from that point on, it's like, I actually can't celebrate a goal like that ever again.
Yeah, you can't just fully let yourself go. But I suppose there is the counter element you could say of, you know, being in that Spurs end. I'm sure that was a feeling of like, you're going from absolute devastation to absolute ecstasy, and it's the polar opposite for the
I've
City
yet to
fans.
see that happen to me.
I haven't had.
Yeah, I'm going, yay, it's a penalty.
I haven't had it yet. Actually, I've had one offside away at Wolves last season where they scored and then they took it back for offside, and that was like, it was like thank fuck. And they played goal music at Wolves, so we were just doing that the whole game and taking the piss. It was class. That was no doubt. Nice. But yeah, I'm very much with you that like. I get VAR. It's getting rid of some of the mistakes in our game, but we are losing an element of it. I want to just go wild and go limbs.
Another, I guess ref decision, and something about football and the spirit of football. The handball in the Villa Crystal Palace game. That unnatural position. Yeah. If you're jumping for the ball, it's so close. There's not. What can you do? Like you can't be jumping like this. You can't be all like,
that was a shocking decision.
But like,
shocking. I remember years ago, Mourinho coached our players to not do that, and Ivanovic used to always do that thing with his hands behind his back. If you remember.
Yeah, but you can't defend like that. You're completely off balance. You just can't defend like that. It encourages all of the wrong things as a defender. That handball was a shocker. I thought how that's handball, I'll never know. And it's getting a bit of a joke now.
Yeah. So Stevie. Not getting. He changed the team again. I saw this time it was Coutinho on the bench. It was Ings on the bench.
I got told at the start of this season, the assistant manager he left, and he's the one who does all the tactics for Stevie G. He's the one. He's basically the mind of the team and the tactical guy of the team. And I mean, what we're seeing here is I don't see what they're trying to play. I don't even know what is
cohesion.
Yeah, what is a Gerrard team? Like what are they trying to play?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
The identity, don't know.
You summed it up perfectly a few weeks ago before they kicked a ball in that he doesn't know his best team.
Not at all. He goes from week to week. Like you say, he's chopped and changed this week. Bailey's back in, didn't play the last game. Ings is out, having scored in the second game. Like, what's he? I mean, Watkins scored.
Is out, Wendy is in. It's
mate. I don't think he knows anywhere. What's his best midfield defense? I don't think he knows in each area of the pitch, let alone his whole team, what his best players are.
Yeah, now they've lost Diogo Carlos. Obviously, he's out with a bad injury, I think.
I also think he has way too many spaces between like his players. Like I looked at like the way he like sets up his defenders, like from left back to centre back. There's massive gaps from two centre backs, massive gaps. Midfield to defence, there's massive gaps. It just doesn't feel like there's, as you said, the cohesion, the compactness you need to be a top team.
Yeah, it's a tricky time for him, and obviously he will be facing questions. And as will Frank, to be fair. I mean, they fought back for a 1-1 with Notts Forest.
What a ball by Pickford.
At home to Forest. 1-0 is not a great result, is it?
It's not going to instill you with much belief.
But that ball from Pickford, my goodness.
Well, yeah, what an assist. I'll give him that.
Great assist.
But I do feel like Frank, again, do we really know what Frank's identity is? I don't really know what and I don't know if they have. I mean, with the Gordon, we got to touch about that. 60 million, 50 plus add-ons. I mean,
yeah, I'm surprised we're willing to take that risk in terms of. Well, a lot of our players are quite young anyway, and it is some of them have been bought with the idea if they're going to get better, they have a high ceiling. And I understand Gordon has that. I think he is a good dribbler. I think he wins a lot of fouls because he loves a dive. To be fair to him,
fit right in.
Yeah.
Scummy player.
And he can be creative, and we do that like that to an extent. But the biggest thing we lack is people who can finish, and I don't think he adds to that.
He's not a proven goal scorer by any means.
I think you would have had this window if you're willing to offer 60 million for Anthony Gordon. I think Palace would have taken that for Zaha. To be honest, I think Zaha might even have a 1 year left on his deal. So I think someone like that, you've got the finished article. Yeah, you might not get as much time out of him, but you know what you're getting with someone like Zaha, and he is adding all those things and more. So, yeah, I'm a bit confused by that, but he would be a big loss to Everton. Well, obviously they'd have to replace him, but people would know they had money. So, yeah, I don't know what direction Frank wants to go in with them.
I do feel with Chelsea right now, they're a bit like new owners coming in. They're desperate to make an impact.
We're lacking a director of football, and so it's all just down to what Tuchel wants at the moment.
Yeah, and there's a lack of direction in what you're trying to buy, and also I feel the prices are very like 60 mil. Ooh, for Clay, Anthony Gordon, yeah. So
Claire Balding.
Claire Balding.
I almost called him Claire Gordon. Jesus, yeah. But that basically, I just think they're sort of doing that sort of spam, you know, when you're just like, you've got that money in bank, like, let's just do it, let's get someone, let's bring some players, like, let's make them, like, you need to stamp authority.
Rafinha is certainly who they were going for, and obviously Barcelona ended up getting him, so they're kind of working off, okay, who's an alternative, someone who presses a lot in Anthony Gordon. But yeah, I'm not sold on him either. He's just someone who I think, okay, yeah, his ceiling's high, but have we seen enough for him to warrant 60 million? No, not
that's
in my opinion.
That's a big risk, yeah.
Put it this way, I thought 50, I was like, fucking hell, that's a lot. It's a lot for Anthony Gordon, 50 million.
I thought 30 was about acceptable.
60 is pretty outrageous, I can't lie. But there was other football on over the weekend that we did enjoy. And thank you, ITV. We don't work with you or anything, but shout you out because you've brought Spanish football back to our homes. No longer do we have to not illegally stream.
Yeah. I missed the days of Revista de la Liga. I was chatting to one of my mates today about it when they used
Graham Hunter.
They used to, Graham, not my mate Graham, but shout out Graham, he is one of my mates. They used to sit around that Spanish bar and have olives and other bits of tapas
San Miguel.
and watch Real Madrid against Valladolid or whoever, and those were the days.
They were, mate. They were.
And they'd play highlights of the games the whole time, so you'd never like miss one. You'd wake up in the morning and be like, last night's game, bang it on.
Yeah, Scott Minto and Guillaume Balaguer.
And he was back on our screen. But it was. I was quite impressed by Barcelona. I joined a little bit later than you boys, but Lewandowski obviously off the mark.
Yeah,
Ansu Fati's performance was pretty ridiculous from the bench.
Yeah, him and Lewandowski together were great when they were on the pitch at the same time. I thought Barcelona looked pretty dangerous, to be fair.
Yeah, Pedri's such a good player.
Dembele was good as well. I mean, I thought his goal was great all round.
He's a funny one to watch, isn't he?
Yeah,
he does something like that, and he threatened to throughout the game. But there was one moment where he jinked inside so well, he just smashed it, and it went up about 30 yards over the bar.
Yeah,
he's a weird player, isn't he?
Yeah, he is weird. He's a bit like. I don't know.
You don't know what you're gonna get.
He's erratic. He's just like he's a bit crazy legs. That's what he is.
He's quite a bit crazy legs.
He's just like his legs are flying everywhere. You don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, he's very unpredictable, but he's got real quality about him. He seems to find that a lot more consistently. But it was also nice to be reminded that yes, David Silva does still play football.
Yeah, and he plays football with hair.
With hair and well.
Yeah, very well.
Very well.
He definitely suits that league at this age as well. Like it's just a bit more slow pace, and he's still a baller, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, he's class.
Not
good
a
to see him.
baller, but
No. He was he's a classy player.
Yeah.
One of the legends of the league.
Yeah,
you'd say.
most definitely. But there was also some foreign football I watched over the weekend that was. I wax lyrical about these like every week, but PSG are just on another planet at the moment.
I mean,
I maintain when I had to hear narratives of Salah as the best player in the world right now and all this rubbish, these lot are the best team in the world right now. I'll say it. I know Bayern won 7-0 away against sauerkraut or whoever the fuck they were playing. But PSG at this moment in time, Neymar is coming for that Ballon d'Or. He is coming for it. Messi is settled. He is fine. He's the Lionel Messi of old. And Mbappe has put that ego aside, which is lovely to see. Within the first minute, they've adapted the Scotty Parker tactic.
Yeah, they literally nicked the kickoff. I mean, fair play to them. But I also, talking about Neymar, I think he got highly offended. PSG fans were like, let's get him out. Didn't want him there in the club anymore. They thought he, let down PSG by not bringing a Champions League and not performing, too many injuries, all that stuff. But I think that's rolled him right up. I think this is the year where he's like, I want to prove to everyone that I am,
I'm still that guy.
I deserve a Netflix documentary.
Because he still has the doubters, doesn't he? We spoke about it last week when we did the
he gets slandered wrongfully.
Ronaldinho versus Neymar. And he gets a lot of stick for... And his record is ridiculous for club and country. I don't know. People need to put a bit more respect on his name, for sure.
But they were fabulous to watch. I mean, it was just free flowing football at its absolute best. But yeah, they're going to be some force to stop. They really are. But we had that poll between Neymar and Ronaldinho.
We did.
It split 50-50.
Yeah, it's still ongoing. You can still vote.
Yeah. We were deciding vote.
I think 50-50 reflects that very fairly, to be honest, because I was very on the fence.
Yeah, exactly. I think you were Dino, I was Neymar, and you were pretty 50-50, so I think
I went
that works.
towards Dino, probably out of nostalgia, but I'm I've got splinters up my arse on that one. But we are bringing it back from that previous segment, Blast from the Past.
Blast from the Past.
And it's my player this week.
We've got a jingle. We need a jingle.
We need a jingle.
Yeah, so it's Guy this week. We are blind, bear in mind.
They're blind.
Dropping bars here.
So... Last week, you set the bar quite high with Ronaldinho. So, a complete legend of the game, I thought, do I go for a similar calibre of player or do I go for the other end of the spectrum? I went for a legend of the game. And not only that, I have a T-shirt with this man on.
Wow, we have a prop.
We have a prop for this player.
I'm excited. It's nice to not know. Well. Yeah, my heart's pumping.
So, what if we don't know?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh no, you know the player. Yeah. This player, Emmanuel Eboué.
Legend of the game.
So for our audio listeners out there, I'm currently holding aloft a T-shirt that reads "Eboué is my homeboy" with a silhouette of his face on the front of the T-shirt. The story behind this T-shirt is that he was such a meme in my household growing up between me, my brother, and my dad. That my dad actually bought that T-shirt at the Emirates in it says 2010 on that T-shirt. Obviously, he's not a legend of the game. He's one of the most useless players that
Don't give me that. He watches this definitely.
That I've ever seen line up for the Arsenal. But he was such a meme in my house that I thought I had to bring him up. And I don't know, what are your guys' memories of the legend that is Emmanuel Eboué?
Weirdly, the first two that have just sprung to my mind when you brought up this absolute legend of the game weren't Arsenal. It was the one where, is it the World Cup where he's leaning in trying to hear the tactics
against North Korea?
Yeah, no, surely not North Korea.
Yeah, North Korea.
North Korea in the 2010 World Cup. Yeah. He leant in trying to listen in to the
Korean
Korean
he might have some
tactics.
valuable information some other people might want to know.
They weren't talking football, were they?
Yeah, I don't know if it was football. And then the other one that came to mind was an absolute rocket against Real Madrid for Galatasaray.
Mate, his best performances were definitely not in an Arsenal shirt.
No, I remember that probably one of the saddest games of my life, and it was all down to Eboué.
Is this the substitute?
No,
I know the game you're talking about.
This is Liverpool at home. We had to beat them to stay in a title race. Had to be beaten. And it was the 110th minute, something ridiculous. 108th minute.
We'd scored in, I think, the 100th minute.
Yeah, 100th minute.
And was it a pen?
Yeah, it was a
Van
pen.
Persie.
And he was, he literally, he was shadowing him. He was I think it was Cow. Yeah, it was. I think it was.
I think it was Cow.
He was running the pen for sure.
He took the pen. It might have been Lucas Leiva. I don't know who it was.
Yeah,
some greasy chick.
Yeah. And he was running away from the box, running towards the touchline. And Eboué was like, you know what I'm going to do here? Is just wrestle him to the ground. And it was like, I just remember going like, oh no. I was devastated. Obviously, never seen us like that. That literally ruled us out from the title race as well. That was the game. That was done. Completely killed us. Coffin, bang. But I do want to say one thing. Eboué went from getting booed at the Emirates to getting.
That. Did he get subbed on and subbed off in one game?
Probably.
That's a recurring thing for Arsenal fullbacks. So probably.
Yeah.
But
Andre Santos style.
Yeah. Or Tavares last year. He did a bit of a Xhaka. A boo to a cheer. He had one spell. Also, one of the really important goals scored at the Emirates. Eboué crossed Henry. 90th minute winner.
United?
Yeah,
Boom.
bam. Yeah, last minute winner. That was an Eboué cross. He definitely got all right at one point, and then went back to being shit.
Oh, do you remember the cross? Not that it was a good cross. It was in fact a terrible cross. The one to Van Persie away at Charlton when Van Persie scored that volley.
Oh my God!
That was an
just for
Eboué.
that alone.
That was an Eboué cross. Bear in mind, it's kind of hip height, edge of the box, and Van Persie scores one of the best volleys in Premier League history. Unbelievable.
I think that is Van Persie's best volley, personally.
Incredible.
Because there's definitely another one that everyone throws in where I know it won them the league.
No, the Everton one was better.
Everton, yeah, watched over his shoulder. I'm thinking more of Villa for United.
That was obviously from a longer range pass from Rooney.
Yeah, I do like the Everton one's a good shout. Alex Song that got him moved to Barca, basically that pass.
Yeah, he used to play that a couple of times to Van Persie to volley
against
in.
Liverpool as well.
Rooney said that's the greatest goal in Premier League history. The Villa one.
Rooney's chatting fucking shit. I've seen him score better goals.
Yeah, off his shin.
Yeah. Well, not even that. The Newcastle volley.
True.
It's because he passed the fucking ball. That's why I was like, look at my assist.
But yeah, I've got one more. To just cap off Eboué, this is going to cap him off perfectly.
Right.
Got one more story about him. So, it might be slightly tenuous, but my cousin-in-law was on a UEFA coaching course, and Eboué was on the same course.
Lovely.
And they said it was the end of the course, and each person taking the course had to give a training session, and they said you can do whatever you want. Right, we've got you a squad of 20 players. You can do whatever you want. Emmanuel, go and take the session. So they go out. Eboué takes them out to the training pitch. He looks at them and he goes, "Lads, you got the day off." And that's it. And that was the session. And they went, not literally anything, Emmanuel, but apparently that was it.
What, did he fuck off as well?
Yeah, they all just left. And I think that sums him up as a player, just making bad decisions.
Is it actually, it's fair, one of his highlights is his Twitter. His Twitter was hilarious back in the day. He was just slagging off people left, right, and right. I don't know if it was his real account because he didn't get the blue tick.
That could be someone's definitely.
But it did sound like
sounds like a spoof.
Yeah. But it did.
It's like that Colton Cole account for years.
Yeah.
Madness.
But
he's my blast from the past. I just thought, you know what? I had the T-shirt and I brought it along, and I thought Eboué,
what guy?
for the right or the wrong reasons, he's a very, very memorable player.
He was a funny boy, very funny.
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up there, but we'll leave you Spotify listeners in particular. If you're a YouTube watcher, go across to Spotify and vote on the poll. Arsenal's best ever fullback between the man himself, Eboué, and Pascal Saigan.
Oh, mate.
Which one do you go there?
Mate, they're two of our worst.
Saigan was fullback, wasn't it? Yeah.
He was centre back for.
Forced in. I mean, he's another one that I just remember when I think of shit players.
That's what I said that in your live one. I was literally like, "Who's your worst player?" I went Pascal Saigan. I think he was rated like 54 saying on FIFA 04. Saying,
yeah, back when we were in the Invincibles.
Yeah.
And he's still rated bronze.
He was bald as you like. Honestly, he gave me Johnny Sins vibes all over. Honestly,
dearie me.
Yeah, but we'll wrap it there. It's been a lovely one. Hopefully, it's a better one next week. I'm not as fuming with my fucking team because they were shite.
Who have you got next week?
Leicester at home, which you'd like to think that's a nice one to get. Hopefully Fofana's lining up for us. But yeah, go follow the TikTok highlights page, TikiTalk podcast, and yeah, give us a rating on Spotify, by the way, and like it on YouTube. Do all that, subscribe, follow it. We're really promoting this. I'm getting more on the swing.
You finally got the TikTok name right.
I'm getting that, yeah.
Turn on those bells.
Yeah, turn on those notifications.
Boo.
Boo.
So you never miss an upload.
Yeah, nice. We're getting really professional over here. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, peace out. Cheers, guys.